is important since we have to create a student account for you in the end. That only works if you are properly registered in the CampInO system and if you got admission and so forth and paid the semester fee. And in a moment, I will show you the test version of the system. So about questions, I would kindly ask you to wait for placing questions after the presentation, since it's we would like to use this video for others, and the questions may be addressed using the guide we sent to all of you. But I will try to answer them if there are any questions as good as possible. So, well, if you're ready, then I would like to start with the original system. And I would like to share my screen with you. So can everybody see the screen? All right, all right. So this is a test version of the system, since it may be difficult or it may not be a good idea to use the original system and adding some test data into it. So this is why we chose to reactivate the test system and show it. It might be slightly different, but it will give you a very good idea about the process. So this should be the starting screen you see if you type in the email address given in the guide. And it shows this one, which you can switch to English, of course. And well, if you speak German, it's all right, but you can switch to English. And this is also given in the guide is also given in English. So first of all, you should click this button, which is for applicants in general, because the university system provides a wide range of functions for the university concerning your student life and examinations and so forth. But it also works, part of it also works for the application process. So once you received your admission letter, and if you did the down payment, we would ask you to register in this fashion here. And you have several options here to register, but only one works for you if you are an IGC student. So I'm now switching to English, hoping it works in the test system. So hopefully it does. Okay, let's switch back again. So it's application for IGC. I think we can now switch. So since you already have received an admission letter, then of course click this option. And this will guide you through the rest of the process. So first of all, you need a registration. So you have to click on OK. So you should be aware that you create an account by doing so, giving personal data and so forth. And here it starts. I will enter now any name. This is of course not genuine data, since it's simply a test. Enter your date of birth and so forth. So there shouldn't be any problem concerning this data. Of course, we need your nationality. It's whatever. So I will now add my own email address, and you should do so too. Your own email address, so you would receive notifications then at various stages in the process. So now I have to select a password. There are some guidelines given here on how to create a safe password. So they want you to have at least 8 digits, large and small characters, special characters, and so forth, in order to make it safer. I will now choose a password, repeat it. And answer some silly question here. Type in the first, fourth, and sixth. Then you have to accept the data and privacy policy, since of course we will record your personal data here. And that's for the application process only. So if everything works out, and in this case it did, the system will send you an automatic reply and giving you 2 things. And that is a link and a code. So it's going to look like this, and of course it's in English. It will give you your username. The password is the one you've already chosen then, and you can either click on the link or simply copy this code, the unlocking code, and enter it actually here when you click on this button. So I just copied the code and it should work out. Right. So now I have my username that is given in the email, which is this one, which you cannot choose it, that will be generated for you. And so you can simply copy it from the email and use the password you've just selected yourself. All right, so if you typed it in correctly, then you should see this screen. And you should start your application here. For legal reasons, we will ask you the question if you would like to receive email notifications, but that is due to a data security policy. And actually, you cannot go on with the process if you click no, because without notifications, you will not be able to go on. But for legal reasons, we have to ask that question. So you should enable email notifications. So applying for one of the programs is called here add a request in the system for whatever reason, but that's the way it is. It's this green button. So if you'd like to enter a program, then please click here. So there is some general information about the process and everything here. So you can read it, but I think most of it is not really interesting if you have the guide or if you see the video. So in this part, you can select the IGC programs. You have basically you could select other programs, but they have other deadlines and other conditions, of course. So since you've already received your admission letter, please select IGC Master, and then you can select the program you got admission for. In this case, I will simply select Global Management. Then the official question is which semester you would like to apply for, and most of you should apply for the first semester. It's funnily called subject-related or first subject-related semester, which is this, simply meaning you're a beginner in this very program. And the first question is about your university entrance qualification. Now, since this is not really relevant for your application, since you're about to apply for a master degree program, and this question is mainly directed at your school leaving certificate, you should be able to skip it, but for legal reasons, it's not. Since it's a legal part of the application process, we have to ask this question, and we are obliged to enter this information. Since for the application process for a master degree program, it is not relevant since you already have your admission letter, and the admission was based on your bachelor degree program, we have to enter some information. So in most cases, your qualification should have been acquired abroad and not in Germany. So you may enter your the country you acquired either your bachelor degree in or your school leaving certificate, and in every case, it's a qualification you acquired abroad. In this case, the average grade is now not important since since your school leaving certificate is of no consequence here, and your bachelor degree, let's say the average grade you received, was already considered for your application. So you may enter any data here. There might be 2.5, and give, say, a credible data for when you might have acquired the year and the date, say 15th of June in, say, 2018. So it's not that important that this data is correct at this point of time, because to some extent it could not be, since the question is about your school leaving certificate. So then please click on next. Okay. So it has to match roughly your age. So the system will know if you're a child. So the next question is about your previous studies. However, it is directed at possible previous studies in Germany. And so if that is not the case, if that has not been the case, or any vocational training, please just skip it. Also, the next question about any service you might have completed is directed at German students having studied in Germany or having completed any training or military service or the like. So it is of no consequence for your admission process. So here are some of the entry requirements you had to meet concerning the IGC admission. And we would like to make sure that you enter the system only once you already have an admission letter and submitted or transferred the initial fee. So everything is set yes, because we assume you already have your admission letter and that you paid the down payment. It would be kind if you entered here your IGC application number, which you will find on your admission letter. So it should have a structure like this, which is, let's say, 1 dash the year and 3 more figures like this. And so it might be easier to allocate your data, combine it with the other system, since we have to use several university systems to complete the process. So this is a section, unfortunately, that shows, but it's not necessary. Again, the system was designed for every possible university program, So since we have already evaluated your data, your qualifications, and found them and approved of them, it's not necessary to upload a VPD preliminary review document. So you can simply skip it in this case. If you already have your admission letter, and that's the important thing. So we mainly use this system. Okay, test system, it is required. Then please upload any document that is a PDF file, like say your CV or the like. So any PDF file should do. So maybe your CV or your admission letter or anything like, or a better idea might be your bachelor degree, your diploma, and this will be accepted. So here's an overview about the data you've already given so far in the process. And so at this point of time, you should check the data you've already given, because your personal data should be correct and everything else should be too. You have to click in that the data is correct. So check it again, and then you can submit the request. So here you can actually view an application summary, again, about the data you've entered, printed out, or save it to your computer or mobile device. Please note, in general, the HSB website was not designed, or the application system here was not designed to work on a smartphone and maybe not on mobile devices. Which is not a good idea, because the PDF files you might receive in the process, or the information you might receive, might not be properly displayed. So I suggest you always use a laptop or a standalone PC to watch the documents and the system itself. So because there might be mistakes. So in any case, at this point of time, I should be able to see your application in the system for the first time, since before this process, you've only entered and prepared the application you did. So I will now enter the system and to check on your application. So here's a short summary of your previous data entered into the system. This will help you to contact your official in charge, which is me in this case. And we should now get back to the process. I now enter the admission live in the system. So at this point of time, you should receive an automatic email notifying you about a change in your status in the portal. So I would now have to say log out again and log in. Using my data again. So that's what you should do. Logging in again. Once you receive the email that a status change has occurred. So when you see that the status indeed has changed to admission offered. So you can view your application here, and you can go on with process. The system will, at this point of time, have generated an admission letter, which you can download and print out, but it is better to use the one you already received by post and submit it to the embassy if that is necessary for you. So the options you have here now is to either accept the offer, which we hope you do, and or relinquish the university place so it will be available for someone else, or to postpone the offer. Also, you can add an application for another program, but for the IGC programs, we ask you just to submit one application, especially when you already did the down payment, so you cannot change it anymore. So please accept the offer. And the next step would be to request the enrollment, meaning to apply for the enrollment, giving some more data. So please click on next. Here they will display the data you originally gave, leaving you the possibility to add some more information, but you cannot really change it. So here we need some information about your address. At this point of time, it might not be that interesting since you probably haven't entered Germany yet. When you enter Germany, we need the address you are registered at here in Germany, because that is a legal requirement, and so we can send you letters and print the tickets for you. Now, the type of address is interesting for us. Maybe you have several places you stay at in Germany, and a temporary address and the one you registered at. So please make this distinction here. Address might only be valid for, say, one semester. And so here you can notify us about the fact that it is only temporary. I now click on that this is my home address. You can also add your phone number and another email address. One of the issues of creating your account is that you have to enter your student email account, which you will receive once the application process, once the enrollment process is complete. You can activate it, and you are actually required to check on this email account, because some important university information might be sent to that account concerning your re-registration, for instance. So if you'd not like to check this account on a regular basis, I suggest you use the forwarding function in your student email account, and so you would receive vital information concerning this. Here again, they display your university entrance qualification. As I said, is not of any relevance now because it's primarily directed at your school leaving certificate, but you can enter your bachelor data here as well. So again, previous studies, this should only be entered if that is the case. So if you already have a bachelor degree from Germany, we need this information. That is a legal requirement that we have to enter this information, what you studied and where in Germany. So because this is relevant for the overall number of semesters you had at a German university. So data about being an exchange student, which is also possible, is of less interest here. We are talking about a genuine enrollment, pursuing an academic degree, of course. So this might also have been, say, German university, abroad, but that rarely happens. So you can actually click on next if that is not the case, as it is with many of you, I guess. This is directed at having studied abroad while being enrolled at a German university. So in most cases, this does not apply to you. Just click on next. We need the home district. This is related to your address in Germany if you have it. So it can be properly allocated for statistical purposes. But in any case, I might check this later on and change it if necessary. So it is not that important here. Vocational training or internships also do not count. They have no effect on your admission or the like, and it's also directed at having studied in Germany and having done vocational training here in Germany, or internship during your previous studies in Germany. So in most cases, this will not have occurred. So again, just click next. So this is it concerning the collection of the data. And I will have to check the system now concerning the your status, because now you actually applied for the enrollment. Here we have another overview page. This will display again the requirements for enrollment that have to be given in general, but most of them can be ignored since they are already given in your admission letter. However, final enrollment is only possible if you submit your original documents, because so far in the process you only sent scans of your documents. And this is why we need the original documents when you finally enroll. Some of you might need a visa to enter Germany, and we might grant a preliminary enrollment simply on a technical basis, disregarding the other requirements like having health insurance or an address in Germany, or having to submit the original diploma and transcript. So one more important thing is here, that is the application for enrollment. For legal reasons, we need your original signature on this. These times, of course, it is a little difficult. I would appreciate it if you brought this document when you finally enroll and come to Bremen and come to the IGC and we meet, and that you bring this document. For the moment, please download this application form, sign it, scan it, and return it by email. So this will help me to process your enrollment, because it's one of the essential documents which we need. You have to give declarations that you took note of certain university regulations, and yes, our legal department tells us this is a legal requirement. We have to ask for this. So another information that is given in this application form, it even works. It looks like about like this. It gives the information about the semester fee that goes along with your enrollment, because I cannot enroll you without having transferred the semester fee. And the bank details are given to the right of this letter. So please check your individual application form for enrollment. It gives it's quite small, but it gives the exact amount and the bank details here. And that payment has to be allocated in the system to your application data. And only then I can process your enrollment. You can use the, as given in the email I sent, you can use the link and pay the semester fee by credit card. So you can do so once you register, because you have to state the CampInO application number, which is, say in this case, it's here. Because otherwise the payment cannot be allocated to your student account, and actually, so I will never know that you paid. So enrollment will be say, somewhat impeded if you don't state the CampInO application number when you do the financial transfer. So please print this out, sign it, scan it, and send it to me, reading the information given here. So this form, I think, should be available in English, but otherwise, please read it and sign it in any case. So the main process is finished here now. Once I have the information that the semester fee was received, and once I have the application form, I can process your enrollment. So another important information for me in this process is if you come to Germany and when, because our regulations, of course, assume that you enter Germany, in fact. And therefore, you're liable to conclude a contract with the health insurance companies for your student health insurance, which is a requirement for the enrollment. And that is actually in place the moment you enter Germany. For traveling purposes, we recommend that you take out travel insurance, but only on a short-term basis, because once you enroll here and you're 30 or younger, you have to conclude such a contract for your health insurance. So once I do the online enrollment, knowing you will not enter Germany that soon, or after the beginning of the lectures, I might process your online enrollment without having the health insurance information. So if you do enter Germany in time and before the lectures start, then please submit the application, your admission letter to one of the statutory health insurance companies in Germany, like Techniker Krankenkasse or AOK. And because the data required will be sent by the insurance company, even if you have a private insurance and you need an exemption from the health insurance scheme here in Germany, please submit your admission letter to any of the companies asking for an exemption letter or an exemption information that is to be sent electronically to our systems, because that is, again, necessary for the enrollment process. Well, for now, we're finished. Since all the documents or the rest of the process will be finished along with my colleague, Mr. Frank. If you need a residence permit and accommodation and so forth, Mr. Frank of the International Student Assistance Service will be happy to meet you and help you with these issues once you enter Germany. And once that is completed, we can meet and I can give you your semester ticket and so forth. And you can also activate your student email account, as I previously said, which is important to use any of the university systems, but we can do so once you are here. So if you need an online enrollment, a previous online enrollment, because you enter Germany later on, then we have to find a way to giving you the access to the student email before this. So one part of the activation of your student email account is entering an activation code, and that activation code would actually be available in this portal where you entered your application. But this there's still some time to do this, and we can do so on an individual basis, of course. So since the process is now pretty much complete from concerning the technical part, you may now state your questions if you have any.